A greedy CEO raises prices on a poor man, but when he sees Elon Musk's face, he screams. In the heart of Silicon Valley, Prime Tech stood as a behemoth in the tech industry, its sleek headquarters towering over the bustling streets. The company had made a name for itself with its cutting-edge, life-saving devices, but behind the glossy facade lay a darker truth. Prime Tech's success was built on a foundation of greed and exploitation, with its CEO, Gerald Stone, at the helm. Gerald Stone was a man driven by an insatiable hunger for wealth and power. He had risen through the ranks of Prime Tech with a ruthless determination, crushing anyone who stood in his way. Under his leadership, the company had become a monopoly, dominating the market for critical medical devices. Gerald had no qualms about raising prices to exorbitant levels, knowing that desperate customers had nowhere else to turn. As Gerald sat in his opulent office, his eyes glued to the stock ticker on his computer screen, a knock on the door interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," he barked, his tone laced with annoyance. His secretary, a timid woman named Maria, entered the room, her hands trembling slightly as she approached his desk. "Mr. Stone, there's a customer in the showroom who wants to speak with you. He seems quite insistent." Gerald let out a heavy sigh, rolling his eyes. "Fine, I'll be there in a moment. But this better be worth my time." Ethan, a humble man in his mid-40s, stood in the pristine showroom of Prime Tech, his worn clothing a stark contrast to the sleek devices and polished surfaces surrounding him. He had saved every penny he could to afford the life-saving device his ailing mother desperately needed. The device, a marvel of modern technology, was the only hope for her recovery. As Ethan waited, his eyes wandered across the displays, marveling at the incredible advancements Prime Tech had made. But his amazement quickly turned to dismay as he noticed the exorbitant price tags attached to each device. How could anyone afford these prices? He wondered, his heart sinking. Unbeknownst to everyone, Ethan was not who he appeared to be. Beneath the humble exterior was none other than Elon Musk, the visionary entrepreneur and billionaire. Elon had come to Prime Tech in disguise, determined to investigate the numerous complaints he had received about the company's unethical practices and mistreatment of customers. As Elon waited patiently, he observed the interactions between the sales representatives and the customers. He noticed the looks of desperation on the faces of those seeking help, and the indifference of the employees who seemed more interested in making a sale than providing genuine assistance. Gerald strode into the showroom, his expensive suit and polished shoes exuding an air of superiority. He spotted Ethan standing near one of the displays and approached him with a condescending smile. "I heard you wanted to speak with me. What can I do for you?" he asked, his tone dripping with false sincerity. Ethan looked up at Gerald, his eyes filled with a mix of hope and determination. "I'm here to purchase the XR500 device for my mother. She's very ill, and this is her only chance at recovery. I've saved up everything I have, but I'm still short. I was hoping you could help me out, maybe offer a discount or a payment plan." Gerald's smile turned into a sneer. "A discount? You must be joking. Do you have any idea how much it costs to develop these devices? We can't just give them away to every sob story that walks through our doors." Ethan's face fell, his hopes crumbling before him. "Please, sir. I'll do anything. I can work extra hours, take on additional jobs. I just need a chance to save my mother's life." Gerald let out a cruel laugh, shaking his head in disbelief. "You really don't get it, do you? This is a business, not a charity. If you can't afford our products, then maybe you should have thought about that before coming here." He leaned in closer to Ethan, his eyes cold and calculating. "In fact, I think I'll raise the price just for you. Consider it a lesson in the harsh realities of life." Ethan's eyes widened in shock, his heart sinking even further. He couldn't believe the cruelty and heartlessness of the man standing before him. As Gerald turned to walk away, Elon stepped forward, his disguise still intact. "Excuse me, Mr. Stone. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. Is this how you treat all of your customers?" Gerald spun around, his eyes narrowing as he sized up the unassuming man before him. "And who might you be? Another bleeding heart looking for a handout?" Elon smiled calmly, his eyes locking with Gerald's. "No, Mr. Stone. I'm someone who believes in the power of compassion and integrity. Someone who knows that true success comes from helping others, not exploiting them. In the days that followed, Elon, still disguised as Ethan, immersed himself in the inner workings of PrimeTech. He spoke with employees at various levels, from the assembly line workers to the sales representatives, listening to their stories and witnessing the toxic culture that permeated the company. Many of the employees were disheartened, feeling trapped in a system that prioritized profits over people. They spoke of long hours, low wages, and the constant pressure to meet unrealistic sales targets. Some even shared stories of customers who had been denied access to life-saving devices because they couldn't afford the exorbitant prices. Elon's heart ached for these individuals, recognizing the toll that Gerald's greed had taken on their lives. He knew that true change would require more than just exposing the company's wrongdoings. It would require a fundamental shift in the way PrimeTech operated. As Elon continued his undercover investigation, he began to plant seeds of hope and kindness among the employees. He offered words of encouragement, praised their hard work, and reminded them of the importance of their roles in helping others. Slowly but surely, small acts of kindness began to ripple through the company. Employees started to look out for one another, offering support and assistance when needed. They began to question the status quo, wondering if there was a better way to conduct business. Gerald, meanwhile, remained oblivious to the changes taking place within his company. He was too focused on the bottom line, obsessed with maximizing profits at any cost. He continued to raise prices, cut corners, and bully his employees into submission. One day, as Gerald was reviewing the company's financial reports, he received an unexpected visitor. Elon, still in his disguise, had managed to secure a meeting with the CEO under the pretense of discussing a potential partnership. As Elon entered Gerald's office, he couldn't help but notice the stark contrast between the opulence of the surroundings and the misery he had witnessed among the employees and customers. "Mr. Stone," Elon began, his voice calm and measured. "I've been observing your company for some time now, and I must say, I'm deeply concerned about what I've seen." Gerald leaned back in his chair, a smirk playing on his lips. "Is that so? And what exactly have you seen, mister?" "Ethan," Elon replied, maintaining his composure. "I've seen a company that has lost sight of its true purpose. A company that prioritizes profits over the well-being of its employees and customers. A company that has forgotten the value of compassion and integrity." Gerald's eyes narrowed, his smirk fading into a scowl. "I don't know who you think you are, but you have no right to come in here and lecture me about how to run my business. PrimeTech is a success because of my leadership, and I won't have some nobody questioning my methods." Elon shook his head, a hint of sadness in his eyes. "Success built on the suffering of others is not true success, Mr. Stone. It's a hollow victory that will eventually crumble under the weight of its own corruption." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a stack of documents, placing them on Gerald's desk. "These are testimonies from your employees and customers, detailing the mistreatment, exploitation, and neglect they have experienced at the hands of PrimeTech. I've also included evidence of the company's unethical practices and the harm they have caused." Gerald's face paled as he flipped through the pages, realizing the depth of the allegations against his company. "What do you want from me?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "I want you to make a choice, Mr. Stone," Elon replied, his gaze unwavering. "You can continue down this path of greed and destruction, or you can choose to be a true leader. A leader who values empathy, integrity, and the well-being of others. A leader who recognizes that true success comes from lifting others up, not tearing them down." In the weeks that followed, PrimeTech underwent a remarkable transformation. Elon, having revealed his true identity, worked closely with Gerald to implement sweeping changes throughout the company. Prices for life-saving devices were lowered, making them more accessible to those in need. Employee wages and benefits were increased, fostering a sense of appreciation and loyalty among the staff. Ethical guidelines were put in place, ensuring that the company prioritized the well-being of its customers and the community above all else. Gerald, initially resistant to the changes, began to see the positive impact they had on the company and its people. He witnessed the renewed sense of purpose and dedication among his employees, who now felt valued and respected. He received heartfelt letters from customers whose lives had been saved by PrimeTech's devices, thanking him for his compassion and generosity. Slowly but surely, Gerald began to realize that true success was not measured by the size of his bank account, but by the lives he had touched and the difference he had made in the world. As PrimeTech continued to evolve, Elon and Gerald worked together to create a new corporate culture built on the principles of empathy, integrity, and innovation. They established a foundation to provide financial assistance to low-income families in need of medical devices, ensuring that no one would ever be denied access to life-saving technology due to their financial situation. The company also invested in research and development, focusing on creating new devices that were not only effective but also affordable and accessible to all. They collaborated with healthcare providers and community organizations to identify the most pressing needs and develop solutions that would have the greatest impact. Elon, who had once been disguised as a humble customer, now served as a mentor and advisor to Gerald, guiding him on the path to becoming a true leader. He taught Gerald the importance of listening to others, of valuing diverse perspectives, and of using his position of power to make a positive difference in the world. Together, they transformed PrimeTech from a symbol of corporate greed into a beacon of hope and compassion, inspiring other companies to follow in their footsteps. As the months passed, PrimeTech's reputation began to soar. The company was hailed as a model of ethical leadership and social responsibility, with its products and practices setting a new standard for the industry. Gerald, once known for his cold-hearted business tactics, became a respected figure in the community, admired for his compassion and dedication to helping others. He was invited to speak at conferences and events, sharing his story of transformation and the lessons he had learned along the way. Elon, too, continued to inspire and guide others, using his influence and resources to support initiatives that promoted equality, education, and environmental sustainability. He recognized that true change required the collective efforts of individuals, companies, and governments working together towards a common goal. Despite the challenges and setbacks they faced, Elon and Gerald remained committed to their vision of a better world, one in which every person had access to the resources and opportunities they needed to thrive. As PrimeTech celebrated its 5th anniversary under the new leadership, Elon and Gerald stood together on stage, addressing a crowd of employees, customers, and community members. Gerald, his voice filled with emotion, spoke of the journey he had undertaken, from a man driven by greed and self-interest to a leader committed to serving others. He thanked Elon for showing him the true meaning of success and for helping him to see the world through a different lens. Elon, in turn, praised the employees of PrimeTech for their dedication and hard work, recognizing that the company's success was a testament to their collective efforts. He spoke of the power of small acts of kindness, of how each person had the ability to make a difference in the lives of others. As the audience applauded, Elon and Gerald looked out at the sea of faces before them, each one representing a life that had been touched by PrimeTech's mission. They knew that their work was far from over, but they also knew that they had set in motion a wave of change that would continue to ripple outward, inspiring others to follow in their footsteps. In the years that followed, PrimeTech continued to grow and evolve, expanding its reach and impact across the globe. The company became known not only for its innovative products but also for its commitment to social responsibility and environmental sustainability. Elon and Gerald worked tirelessly to build a network of like-minded individuals and organizations, collaborating on projects that addressed the most pressing challenges facing humanity. They invested in education and training programs, empowering the next generation of leaders to carry forward the vision of a better world. As they looked back on their journey, Elon and Gerald marveled at the power of a single act of kindness, of how a chance encounter had set in motion a chain of events that had transformed not only their own lives but the lives of countless others. They knew that the road ahead would not be easy, that there would be obstacles and challenges to overcome. But they also knew that they had the strength and resilience to face whatever lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that true success came from lifting others up and making a positive difference in the world. As the sun rose over the Silicon Valley skyline, Elon and Gerald stood together on the balcony of PrimeTech's headquarters, looking out at the city below. Gerald, his face etched with the lines of wisdom and experience, turned to Elon and smiled. "You know, when you first walked into my office all those years ago, I never could have imagined the journey we would undertake together." Elon nodded, his eyes twinkling with a mix of pride and humility. "I knew that there was more to life than the pursuit of wealth and power, but it wasn't until I saw the impact of your actions on the lives of others that I truly understood the importance of compassion and empathy." Gerald placed a hand on Elon's shoulder, his voice filled with gratitude. "You showed me that true leadership is not about being the smartest or the strongest, but about being the most caring and the most committed to serving others. You taught me that success is not measured by the size of our bank accounts, but by the lives we touch and the difference we make in the world." Elon smiled, his heart filled with a sense of purpose and fulfillment. "And you, my friend, have shown me that it's never too late to change, to grow, and to become the person we were meant to be. You have inspired me with your courage and your determination to make things right." As the years passed, the story of Prime Tech and the unlikely partnership between Elon and Gerald became a legend in the business world. It was a tale of redemption and transformation, of the power of compassion and the triumph of the human spirit. The company continued to thrive, its products and practices setting a new standard for the industry. But more than that, it became a symbol of hope and possibility, a reminder that even the most entrenched systems could be changed if people were willing to stand up and fight for what was right. Elon and Gerald, now old friends, continued to work together, mentoring a new generation of leaders and innovators. They knew that the world was still far from perfect, that there was still much work to be done. But they also knew that they had played a small but important part in making it a better place. As they sat together in the quiet of Gerald's office, reminiscing about the past and dreaming of the future, Elon turned to his friend and smiled. "Do you remember what you said to me when I first came to you in disguise, all those years ago?" Gerald chuckled, his eyes twinkling with mirth. "I believe I told you to consider it a lesson in the harsh realities of life." Elon nodded, his gaze thoughtful. "And so it was, my friend. But it was also a lesson in the power of hope, of compassion, and of the indomitable human spirit. It was a lesson that changed both of our lives, and the lives of countless others, forever." As the sun began to set over the valley, casting a golden glow over the city below, Elon and Gerald knew that their work was far from over. But they also knew that they had set in motion a ripple of change that would continue to spread, inspiring others to follow in their footsteps and to fight for a world that was kinder, fairer, and more just. And so, with hearts full of hope and minds full of possibility, they turned to face the future, ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead, together. As the news of Prime Tech's transformation spread, the company found itself in the spotlight, hailed as a shining example of corporate responsibility and ethical leadership. Media outlets clamored for interviews with Elon and Gerald, eager to share their story with the world. At first, Gerald was hesitant to step into the public eye, still grappling with the weight of his past actions. But Elon encouraged him, reminding him that their story had the power to inspire others and to create lasting change. Together, they embarked on a series of speaking engagements and interviews, sharing their experiences and the lessons they had learned along the way. They spoke of the importance of empathy and compassion in business, of the need to prioritize people over profits, and of the transformative power of small acts of kindness. Their message resonated with audiences around the world, sparking a global conversation about the role of business in society and the responsibilities of those in positions of power. As Prime Tech's influence continued to grow, Elon and Gerald knew that they had a unique opportunity to make a lasting impact on the world. They began to explore new ways to leverage the company's resources and expertise to address some of the most pressing challenges facing humanity. They established a research and development division focused on creating sustainable solutions for clean energy, water scarcity, and food security. They partnered with governments and nonprofit organizations to bring their technologies to the communities that needed them most, working tirelessly to bridge the gap between innovation and access. At the same time, they continued to invest in their employees, providing opportunities for growth and development and fostering a culture of collaboration and inclusivity. They knew that the success of their mission depended on the dedication and passion of every member of the Prime Tech team. As the years passed, Elon and Gerald's partnership evolved into a deep and abiding friendship. They had been through so much together, weathering storms and celebrating triumphs, and they knew that their bond was unbreakable. They often found themselves reflecting on the twists and turns of fate that had brought them together, marveling at the way a single chance encounter had changed the course of their lives. For Elon, meeting Gerald had been a reminder of the power of compassion and the importance of seeing the humanity in others, even those who seemed lost or misguided. He had learned that true leadership was not about control or dominance, but about service and empathy. For Gerald, Elon's arrival in his life had been a wake-up call, a stark reminder of the consequences of his actions and the need for change. He had learned that success without integrity was hollow and that true fulfillment came from making a positive difference in the lives of others. As Prime Tech approached its 10th anniversary under Elon and Gerald's leadership, the company had become more than just a business. It had become a movement. Its mission and values had inspired a new generation of entrepreneurs and leaders, each committed to using their skills and resources to create a better world. Elon and Gerald knew that their work was far from finished, that there would always be new challenges to face and new frontiers to explore. But they also knew that they had laid a strong foundation, one that would continue to support and sustain their vision for generations to come. As they stood together on the stage at the anniversary celebration, looking out at the sea of faces before them, Elon and Gerald felt a deep sense of gratitude and humility. They had been given a rare and precious gift, the opportunity to touch the lives of others and to leave the world a little better than they had found it. And so, with hearts full of hope and minds full of determination, they renewed their commitment to the work ahead, knowing that the journey would be long and the road would be steep, but that every step would be worth it. For they had learned that the true measure of a life well lived was not in the accolades or the riches, but in the love and the light that one could bring into the world, one small act of kindness at a time.